My name is Andriy Kolodyuk. I'm a chairman of Ukrainian Venture Capital Private Equity Association since 2014. And this is the reason why I'm here to present to you the vision of the investors of Ukraine in terms of redevelopment and recovery. And also I will give you some insights of what has been happening in Ukrainian investments landscape. And also after that, we will have a panel with the prominent investors that continue to invest in Ukraine. So this is a setup, and I start with our presentation. And UVCA was founded in the, I need to take a clicker. Can I have a clicker? Yeah, thank you. So UVCA was, as I mentioned, founded in 2014. This is an investors organization with, thank you so much, thank you. So we started in 2014. We started with 7 founding members. It's a private equity venture capital funds. Today we are up to 50 members. So we have a number of the projects that we've been doing. Some of you probably been in Davos, in Ukraine House Davos. You've been in our road shows. Obviously, we've been doing the annual researches about the Ukrainian ecosystem, and we are investing. And what's good about that, the first point I would like to share with you that none of our members have stopped invested in Ukraine for the last year. And we also launched a number of the programs that I'm going to share with you today. And you will be welcome to continue to co-invest with our members as well. So overall, if you look at the snapshot of Ukrainian ecosystem since 2014, Ukraine has attracted more than $3 billion of investments. We got 8 unicorns, and most importantly, we have more than 50 companies that are on the way to become unicorns with a valuation from 50 to 100 millions of dollars. 2021 was a record year for Ukrainian ecosystem, was $860 million invested in 2001. But what happened for last year is more important, and let me give you some flavor of what happened last year. So overall, we had a number of the deals that you can see on the screen, actually from this side. But most importantly, we have 2 unicorns that have been minted last year. It's companies Unstoppable Domain and AirSlate, also invested by our members. And this is the biggest deals for the last year. So that all means that the investments are still happening. The investments and the co-investments from the international community still continue. And yes, I mentioned the number of unicorns. You probably recognize number of those. So our industry still continue to invest. This is the top M&A deals that happened last year, and you can see them all on the slide. Obviously, unfortunately, the downside of the war that majority of M&A deals with the U.S. public companies been put on hold. Well, we've been lucky to exit from the Augmented Pixels. It's our portfolio company. We sold it to Qualcomm in January 2021. But the exit is still happening to the private companies, not US public companies, so the exit is still on the way. The IT sector is the only one that has been continued to grow, not declining. And basically, you'll see the numbers is $73 billion only on IT outsourcing services. So this is still happening, and the industry has been, let's say, agile to the all, and resilient, of course, to all the challenges. But this is the numbers, guys. Of course, you can talk about the blackouts, about how they can perform to continue, but this is the numbers. This is the industry has grown 7% for the last year, being a full-scale war. And the number of the international companies entering Ukraine with setting up R&D centers and so on and so on. So we have more than 100 R&D centers now set up in Ukraine, and it is a big future in terms of the industry to have from $37 to $44 billion in the 4 years, based even on the current environment. What are the environment for the investors and for the companies? I will highlight just a few of those because our association was behind also the DSCT law. Basically, it's a legal and tax regime for the innovative type of companies in Ukraine, so it's very transparent. And for the last year, more than 400 companies been registered under that legal framework. Also, we have a law in place on the industrial parks, and the most important ones that we've been pushing for the last year is war insurance. Basically, we all understand it's a full-scale war. how to make it possible for the equity investments still happening. So you need to have the war insurance, because we all heard about the Marshall Plan, but the Marshall Plan was all about actually the insuring the equity investments, the different type of investments and activities now in Ukraine. So number of the states, like Germany, for example, is managing the program, PwC managing the war insurance program for the German investors, Brits, US, France on the way, and some other countries to secure the investments from their investors that are happening now. So it's a very important instrument, and we're going to talk about that one today on the panel as well. But it's just to show you that there is two discussions. One is the post-war, and the other one is now. Because last year, I just mentioned in the Wealth Management Conference in the Monaco that Ukraine will be $1 trillion or euro opportunity. Unfortunately, this is true. And this according not to me, but the president of the European Investment Bank, he said Ukraine is a more than €1 trillion opportunity. But the question is not only why, obviously you see the damage of the war, and that number is growing every day, but also that creates the opportunities for the investors not only to rebuild Ukraine, but also to actually invest. Because in the end of the day, the answer to the question, who's going to rebuild Ukraine, the answer is you. You as entrepreneurs, you as a business, and you are backing up by the investors. So this is how we see the Ukraine will be rebuilt by the private sector. And it's going to be probably the first case in the history of humankind, because all other cases, I'm not going to mention them, like Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and so on, they have been built more on the kind of government level, bilateral level. And Ukraine has not only shown the resilience for the almost a million entrepreneurs, but also the way how we can continue to perform. So this is a priority sector, from energy, infrastructure, food and agriculture, and of course IT, as sectors that are continue to attract investments. The entrepreneurs are resilient and agile to actually to deliver, and the investors are backing them up, of course, with the investments, because we as investors don't invest in projects, we invest in you as entrepreneurs to actually doing value creation and execute the projects. So what we offer, there are three parts as an association to address this opportunity. It's allocation of capital, it's the deployment of capital, and of course the governance, because the governance is a very important piece of it. So let me tell you what we offer. We are continuing to offer the matching the co-investments opportunities with our current investors. They've been investing for decades. None of them stop, and they continue to invest in Ukraine. So we match that projects and which are open today to the international investment community, to the businesses. So it's number one. Secondly, believe it or not, but currently we have 17 funds focused on the Ukraine that are raising capital. Yes, we have a Horizon Capital that already successfully closed at $254 million, and we're going to discuss this on the panel. But 16 funds are raising $1.4 billion, and of course, you know, the BlackRock is raising $25 billion fund. So this is one way. And the other one is actually Fund the Funds as a program to actually deploy the capital to the funds that currently we have. It's 17. But in our view, Ukraine will be rebuilt by the hundreds funds. And that's very important, not just because of the capital allocation efficiency, but also it's important because of the governance, okay? Because the funds are structured through the GPLP structure. Some of you that have been before on the panel, they understand that they're controlled by the LPs and with all the governance involved. So the Fund of Funds is a vehicle to actually to address the funds that currently raising or will be raising, and so on and so on. In terms of the, actually I will explain to you how we do the co-investments, but yeah, basically this is it. We created under the UVCA, the investment platform. This is a project that's been endorsed by our members, investors, and because they know the local entrepreneurs. And we are pushing these projects for the international partner to step in as an investment, as a joint venture partner, and so on and so on. Because obviously, we don't expect many international entrepreneurs now coming to Ukraine, but we are promoting the projects by our members. And for that, we're looking for the investments, which comes not only with the money, but more importantly, with the know-how and with the equipment. Because for the equipment investments, and we're talking not about the IT, we're talking about the water, energy, food, logistic, construction projects, healthcare. All of these projects are possible to implement when you have an equipment. Obviously, we have a problem with the financing. Otherwise, our entrepreneurs will buy this equipment. But investing with equipment gives you the possibility to give the equity investments, and then, as we discussed, the downside protection are given by the member states. As I mentioned, some of you from Germany to Greece, US, etc. They will cover you downside protection if you step in today with that investment. So we have a number of the projects that have been done by this team. So in terms of the fund of funds, currently we're looking for the professional fund of fund manager to manage this $300 million fund. And we have a few candidates. Because as I said, the capital allocation is a key. How the, and this is what we're going to discuss on the panel. So we have 17 funds are raising, but the question is how to get allocation to these funds now. Yes, 12 of those are venture capital, and you've seen that venture capital is still performing. Horizon Capital is private equity fund, and we see some other ones. But we believe that fund of funds will be the vehicle to invest in different type of funds, from the debt, from the mezzanine, and the distressed, stress funds, and so on. So we need to actually motivate the capital allocation coming from LPs to the current funds, because it's not first-time managers. Horizon is a fourth fund they've been raised. Okay, some of our members doing second and the third fund. Question is how to allocate the funds into them. This is the way how we can invest in Ukrainian SMEs and Ukrainian entrepreneurs when we'll get that allocation. So this is a kind of chicken egg. They're asking us, okay, but where to invest? And we show them through the funds how the capital deployment could happen in the Rebuild Ukraine Now. In terms of capital allocation, our association have created this special, we call it 1% Ukrainian investment pledge. It's not a donation, it's not humanitarian, it's an investment pledge. So we've done it together with the Luxembourg Private Equity Association, with Help Invest Europe, and so on and so on. What it is the following. We want to motivate the private LPs to allocate only 1% of their capital commitment to Ukrainian cause. Because 1% obviously doesn't give the major impact on your return, but you can, by giving or investing this 1%, you can give the motivation to your general partners to look at the Ukrainian connected companies. So we're going to promote that in a few weeks from now, with the involvement of all the national association to bring the awareness how you can do this now, because the best help to Ukraine is to co-invest. The question is how. So we created this vehicle as a 1% pledge as a way to do this and allocate the capital, because you will not only get returns, but basically you will actually can be able to do this now and back up the current funds that you've been investing, or the new funds, or fund the funds, and so on and so on. So this is opportunity, and this is how we see to get the private sector capital into the funds by using this vehicle. Because 1%, by the way, it's from totally capital raised this year, it's a 6 billion we're talking about. Obviously, not everybody will do this because it's voluntarily, but once we have the cause as a pledge, then you will think about it. Why not? 1% doesn't not much of the impact on my return, but I want to support Ukraine now by investing in the current funds. It's never been done before. It's a very unusual vehicle. It's like a policy one, like ESG is a policy, right? So you follow or not. So we want to create something for the international financial community to step in now, not only the post-war, as a capital allocation from the private sector, because obviously institutional investors, they have a, let's say, limited institutional capacity to deploy the funds. If we're going to talk about this on the panel, unfortunately, they cannot do 17 funds just because physically, no institutional capacity. Question, we need to rebuild Ukraine. We have funds, but how we can allocate capital? So it's a very tricky one. So, and this is just a slide to show you who's already into Ukraine, what kind of projects, the different one that been already implemented from the smart cities, from the energy, and so on and so on. And that list is just like raising every day. If you follow my LinkedIn, you will see every day I post something new, like new deal done, new deal done. So it's kind of building up. You can follow me on LinkedIn or whatever. And this is a slide I use for the entrepreneurs, especially for the Ukrainian entrepreneurs in Europe, because obviously the Ukrainian rebuild already started with Ukrainian entrepreneurs being in Europe with European status. And this is the programs of the European Union that already available for not only Ukrainian entrepreneurs because of Ukrainian angle, but just because of the European entrepreneurs whatever, be in Ukraine, even on the temporary basis, but they will be able to get access to the resources and to rebuild Ukraine now. Because obviously it's very hard for me to motivate every day someone European entrepreneur, never been in Ukraine, to do something with Ukraine, right? It's not easy. But you're already here, you've been here for the year, so you can be a European entrepreneur, and we are helping to get access to the different European programs, a national and the pan-European angle, in order to get access to the resources. And then you do something in Africa or you do in Ukraine, it doesn't matter in terms of the framework of this programs. So please consider this, because rebuild of Ukraine is happening from us, from investors and the entrepreneurs being here. So to summarize, and then we just go to our panel. So basically, as I said, the best help to Ukraine is co-invest with us, co-invest with our members, as this is still happening, and we're just going to discuss it on the panel. So you can invest directly in 17 funds that have been raising, and there are going to be many more. You can also look at the co-investment opportunities, and also to co-invest not only with the money, with the capital, but also by equity investment with the equipment. So we are showing you the endorsed projects that you can actually look and say, hey, it totally makes sense on the private sector level. I want to step in because I have the Ukrainian investors already behind it, and so on and so on. And thank you for doing this event, because this is actually the opportunity not only to give you the information about what's happening, but also the opportunity to co-invest. So everybody is welcome to continue and to co-invest with us, and let's make something good and rebuild Ukraine for the sake of Europe. Thank you so much.